Hey, it's Tori, and welcome back to my channel. Today we welcome Skinny from Mushroomhead to the channel. How are you doing today?
I am excellent. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule. Of course, you're here to talk about your brand new album, Call the Devil, which is out on August 9th via Napalm Records. You've already had 2 singles out so far from the record. How have you found that response from the fan base who have been with you for years, or from people who are just now discovering you through this record?
So far, so good. It's been really great. The first 2 singles and videos that we put out, it's been a huge reaction. I don't think a lot of people were expecting us to, just come right out and release
Mm-hmm.
brand new material when we did. And it was really exciting. The other day, we actually got to perform the first single, Fall in Line, live at the Incarceration Festival, and it went over great. Like I said, we could see people in the crowd singing along already. So, we felt really, really happy about the performance and just really looking forward to sharing more of it with the world.
Isn't it crazy how even if the song's only been out for what, like a month at this point, if that people already know the lyrics and are already singing it back to you?
Yeah, it's really amazing to see and actually hear it back, especially that fast. It was a seriously pleasant surprise, but really welcoming. Absolutely.
And talking about these 2 singles, you're a very visual band, like you're very theatrical. How do you guys come up with these concepts for your music videos?
Sometimes they're thought out like maybe even years in advance. We'll have an
Mm-hmm.
idea and throw it around and it maybe not get used. That was actually the case with the second video. There was some segments with Miss Jackie and the Eels, and that whole thing had been playing around in my head for quite some time. I wasn't really sure how to incorporate it in there, but we pulled it off, and she had a great time with it. So, again, sometimes it's more spontaneous and just off the cuff. So
Mm-hmm.
it depends on the songs as well. And once they get picked for a single or for a video, then kind of some of that imagery starts to come to life. But the inspiration is actually just everywhere.
Yeah. I mean, why shouldn't it be? This world is just full of so many different things that we should take that in and put that into our own art and so I really loved those shots of Jackie with the little eel bowl and how it was lit from the bottom, and it was just very hypnotizing, especially with her movements and things like that. It really drew you in to the performance of the music video, but as well into the song even more, and I love how they both interconnected that way.
Yeah, she's definitely pulling off the whole sorceress, gypsy witch thing pretty well on that one. I hope she's seeing a bright future for all of us.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So, of course, you're here to talk about the brand new album. Could you go into it in your own words about what the album is about and what it represents for you and the band?
Well, going into 30 years and album number 9, it
Mm-hmm.
represents, quite a bit of opportunity, obviously over the years, but just again, how grateful we all are to express ourselves through music and art after all this time. Um, Going into the album, I think a lot of it was very post-COVID vibes. So there
Mm-hmm.
was a lot of, pent-up aggression. We had no one been really around each other for a while. So there was a lot of excitement. There was a lot of more fast and upbeat and faster tempo and just more aggressive songs in general. I think this album has more of a sinister tone, and I think some of that had to do with, like I said, coming out of the post COVID vibes. Now, don't get me wrong, there's mad drama all over the album. Just kind of like everyone's post COVID vibes. We were happy, we were sad, we were hopeful, we were let down,
Mm-hmm.
and I think a lot of that reflects in on this new album called The Devil. One thing I do hear still when I listen to it is the band is hungry again. And, we were just anxious to get back in the studio and create, collaborate with each other, actually be in close quarters again and, just
Mm-hmm.
actually laugh and listen. So a lot of it honestly had to do with the post COVID vibe going in.
Yeah, it's definitely been an adjustment after post COVID for sure. I mean, I can't believe it's almost been excuse me, it's been 4 years since we've had COVID, and it's just gone like this, and everything that's happened since that, and now you have musicians like you say, you can get back into properly recording and being together and coming up with different ideas for music and things like that. It's just got to be. It's also got to be refreshing in a way as well, because you did have to take this unforeseen break.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, once we were, kind of everyone comfortable being around, the world started to turn back on, so we say. Again, everyone was really hungry and really excited to just get together and work on fresh material. It definitely, was something obviously that the world wasn't expecting, and we weren't. So,
Hmm.
at some point we were like, are we ever going to get to do this again? I mean, is how weird is this going to get?
Yeah.
But luckily, like I said, the world's turning back on, and maybe it's going to be a repeat of the Roaring Twenties, hopefully, to where it is just fun and entertainment, and everyone is just back out there and into it like never before.
Yeah, I hope so too. That's my hope as well, because I mean, I was talking to somebody about this the other day. Just can you imagine we lived all up until now, and then somebody comes in and just takes out music from the world, like how that would affect you in your daily life. It would be crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. And when all that went down, the first thing I realized were heavy metal drums were not essential anymore. So I was like, okay, I need to find something else to do. And, ultimately I looked inward and I found other things, creative passions that, I might have forgot about or got back
Hmm.
into, as simple as, drawing and painting and sculpting and things of that nature, things I could really, dive into. So, thankfully, we have other creative outlets, but yeah, it was quite a unexpected thing for all of us in the world. So we're not special by any means, but like I said, we took quite a bit of that and turned it into like I said, a lot of the feelings post COVID went right into this album pretty heavy.
Yeah, I definitely do hear and feel that hunger for getting back out there, for pushing yourselves even further. Of course, you mentioned you've been around for quite some time, and that leads me on to my next question: is how do you keep your sound evolving but still sounding like Mushroomhead?
It's funny to me, even when I listen back through all of them, it's never really a plan as to, oh, it has to be the heaviest album or it has to be a cohesive album. There's something about what I do and with the people that I work with and collaborate with. Everyone is seriously talented in all their own ways. So I think a lot of that comes to the table. But for some reason, we always end up making things extra dark and creepy. It's just in our roots. I don't know. That's not always the issue, like, the main goal either when we sit down to write. But I think keeping it fresh through the member changes and the years of technology have seriously the technology alone, just with how you can do things with sounds, recording process, same thing with the visual element of it all. I think that's kept it fresh, and we do a lot of that in house. So there's always something new to be learning. And I think that that's it. If you look at it the way we do and present it all as art, and there
Hmm.
are no rules. And if something doesn't come out the way you want it to, well, then just make more. It's art. They're just songs. You can write another one if this one didn't come out the best way. But you have to understand that at some point there is a deadline and an expectation. So, again, at the end of the day, it's just art, and we're
Yeah,
blessed to do it, and we're very
yeah,
blessed to do it. Yes.
yeah. I love looking at music as pieces of art, because then that also, I was checking out a band the other day, and they wrote a song about I Will Never Die, just as a tribute to all of the musicians in the world, because that's your legacy you're leaving behind when you do eventually pass. And that's just, you think about all of these artists that have been and that will be, and it just adds to that art and this like big artistic museum, if you will, of life. And it's just a really nice way to look at it. you talked about a little bit about your creative process, but could you dive deeper into that, like what it looks like for when the band's composing or writing songs together?
Especially on this one, a lot of times it is very spontaneous.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't necessarily have an idea. We just have some time that we know we're going to get together. And like, for instance, Gravy and I, the first couple times we got together, we didn't really even record. We just talked and hung out and just kind of got, laughing and watching a bunch of
Mm-hmm.
YouTube videos, checking out equipment and talking about what we were going to do. But we didn't really have a plan. So when we actually pressed record, we sat and played, and he just played guitar, I played drums, and we just kind of grooved and found some tempos and some grooves that we liked, and some heavy riffs, and went back and listened to it. And just because of the spontaneousness of it, we ended up capturing what turned into the first song on the new album, which is Eye to Eye.
Mm-hmm.
And it is just, it's in your face, it's metal, it's pounding, it's heavy. And again, we didn't have any plan on what we were going to do, but that's the result of being spontaneous sometimes. And the same thing with Dr. F and I. He'll sit down with a piano and I'll sit down with drums, or he'll sit down at piano and I'll hum a melody, and boom, there's like the meat and potatoes of it. So for the most part, it is very spontaneous, and we do it when we get together. However, I just mentioned technology earlier, and sometimes we do file share. So someone will come
Mm-hmm.
up with an idea of something at home, whether it's just a guitar riff or some keyboard lines or whatever. All it takes is a melody sometimes. So we've approached it a little differently. This time around was done in sessions. Like we would work for 10 days on a song or two, and then like 3 weeks on a 3 or 4 songs, and then another 10 days. It wasn't all from like 2 months straight. So it
Mm-hmm.
was it was very collaborative and collective, and we just kind of moved along as we went. And the next thing you know, we had 9 or 10 songs, and we were pretty much ready to call Matt Wallace at that point.
Yeah, I can definitely tell it feels very organic. It just feels very natural and it's not forced in any way, and that's what I love about musicians like yourself. Like you say, because sometimes if you force things, it's just not going to turn out great and then you have to like trash that and start again, or it's nice just to come together and just to hang out and be friends, and if something comes of that, great. If something doesn't, you got to hang out with your buddy, right?
Right. Yeah, there's a lot of that. And then the same thing goes with when you're working on something too long and it's still not
Right.
going anywhere. It's like, okay, we
Yep.
should abandon ship and get on to
Yep.
something that excites us all, even though it excited us to this point, there's nothing wrong with saying, hey, it's not doing it for us in the long run here. Let's do something that will. So,
Yeah.
it's a lot of experimenting going on this album, a lot of non-traditional arrangements, and some of it's looked at more like opera and acts, if you will. Like some of those
Hmm.
songs get to 7 minutes or 9 minutes. There's a couple long ones on the record. And again, we don't always. There's no rules. Again, it's art, and we just like to entertain ourselves and hope everyone that listens to it is as entertained as we are.
Yeah. Do you have a personal favorite on the album?
It's tough. I listened the other day, and sometimes maybe it's just from my daily mood, because the album's big drama. There's moods all
Hmm.
over the place. So if you're more aggressive, it's Eye to Eye. But the last time I listened through it was UIOP was standing out to me again. That one just is haunting, and Stevie and Ryan, they put a twist on things in there. It gets almost Nightmare Before Christmas meets Pink Floyd
Hmm.
meets some serious doom. I don't even know what that song's really fun. And Shame in a Basket always sticks out to me as a long one, but like I was mentioning, more of like opera, and like it's in acts almost.
Hmm.
That one really is special to me too.
Yeah, it's gotta be hard. I'm sure you get that question a lot, and these are your. At the end of the day, these are your babies that you've worked really hard on, and it's gotta be extremely hard. And as you say, because the mood of the album switches so much with the emotions, it just depends on how you're feeling that particular day that you're listening to something. I mean, it does when I choose something to listen to. It just depends on my mood for that day. So I can
You,
understand not being able to pick something.
No, and it's wonderful to work in such a powerful medium, like music,
Yeah,
how it can change your mood.
yeah,
It's something that
absolutely.
comes from the speakers. You can't see it, you can't touch it, yet it changes you. It makes you feel a certain way, happy, sad, excited, depressed, all kinds of emotions come from it. So again, what a blessing to work in such a powerful medium. But yeah, it can definitely change your mood. I can be depressed and throw on a different record and be like, all right, I'm back, you know.
Right.
So yeah, yeah, it's great. It's a wonderful medium.
So, of course, you guys are a masked band, and of course, those masks change throughout the different concepts of these albums. Of course, you guys have got new masks this time around. Are you like, how do you guys come up with these concept designs? Is it like a collaborative thing, or is it just one person designing them, or do you send that out to somebody else to do?
All of the above. Really, no, it is very collaborative. This last time around, we had two separate sculptors helping us out, but even the basic ideas, sometimes certain characters that have been around, like myself, for instance,
Mm-hmm.
try to think of it more of the Mortal Kombat type of
Yeah.
where it evolves a little bit and changes
Right.
slightly, but you still can tell the character. Other
Yeah.
times we have brand new characters, and sometimes that, is straight influence from, say, video games, comic books, horror movies, whatever. And then obviously we put our own twist on it. But all the way down from, sculpting here in house, our new guitar player Joe Gall, he sculpted I think 6 out of 9 of the new ones, and the others were done by Jordan Patton, who is
Mm-hmm.
a special effects guy as well. I think he's out of Pittsburgh currently. I'm not sure. Anyways, yeah, so we're pretty involved. And then, once the sculpt is done, we actually have the molds here and then at the studio. So we make our own masks and, fabricate everything
Mm-hmm.
and, all the accessories and everything else. So we do all that in house. So we're pretty hands on.
Yeah. No, it's really awesome to see. It's nice to have a band that care about their outward appearance as well as what's being listened to. And I would personally love to come see you guys live because I've only ever seen the music videos, and I'd love to see how you transfer that to being on a stage and in that presence sort of way. And of course, talking about touring, you guys will be going on a European tour starting. You're actually starting on the day the album comes out, which is amazing. Are you guys
Yeah.
going to do anything to celebrate that day, like on an on or off stage for the album
Well,
release?
it'll be the first day of the tour. So we're going to celebrate if everything goes right when the show is
Yeah.
over.
Yeah.
But we are planning on playing some new material from the new album, some fresh material from the new album.
Yeah. That'll be awesome. And of course, talking of touring again, you guys have announced your US tour in the fall. How are you feeling about that?
Super excited. October is, the Halloween season, and it just kind of goes
Yes.
hand in hand with Mushroomhead. As
Yeah.
it gets closer to the end of the month, you see more people dressing up, and by the, towards the actual Halloween show or the Halloween night, if we're still playing that late in the month, a lot of times 50, 60, 80% of the crowd is dressed up. So it's just awesome to celebrate that time of year, especially with our fans.
Well, it's got to be cooler for you guys too up on stage wearing those masks. I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you play, and because not only is it hot in there, but like your peripheral vision and everything, like it's dark. So,
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely a watch your step type of thing.
mm,
And you get kind of used to the peripheral and not being able to hear so well. I think sometimes the hardest one is the communication. So we
yeah,
use a lot of hand gestures. There's hand signals everywhere. So, no one has to try to read lips or bother with
right.
things. But yeah, it does prove difficult inside clubs in the dark sometimes.
Yeah. So talking of touring, of course, that means you have to come up with a set list, and you guys have been around for quite some time. How do you go about deciding what you want to put on the set list? Of course, you're going to put brand new uh, music on that's coming out from this album, but for everything else, how is that like a collaborative thing that you join with the band and say and discuss, or is that just like from you or somebody else?
No, it's collaborative. We definitely try to change it up as much as we can.
Right.
We were laughing the other day because this is album number 9. If you took 2 songs off of every album, there's 18 songs. We're going to be here for a minute, so
Yeah.
it definitely proves difficult. So you may see us on a single tour start changing it up from night. It might not be the same set night after night.
Yeah.
Even we like to change it up ourselves. So we'll see how it goes, but we are planning on playing some fresh material.
Yeah. Well, it also keeps you guys fresh and you guys aren't just stuck on the same set list night after night. It keeps, you know,
Yeah, and
It just keeps
another
it
thing again,
interesting.
yeah, another thing again for keeping it interesting with the band, sometimes you have to experiment and see if those songs go over well live, you
Right.
know? You listen
Right.
to them and they rock to you, but then live it's like, oh, maybe the song's a little lumbering, maybe the tempo isn't right. And then you
Mhm.
have to find a better spot in the set to place it to bring the, the emotion and
Mhm.
the energy level down so you could bring it back up. Sometimes it proves challenging when you have such a diverse catalog from, heavy, aggressive,
Mhm.
upbeat things to go to something really depressing and kind of, like a slower tempo. So it does prove challenging, but we're gonna try our best.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. It makes sense to test the waters and just see, like, even just see the crowd's, reaction to it as well, and to see, oh wait, maybe this doesn't quite work here, or maybe this works better than we were expecting it to work, and yes,
Yeah.
this is gonna stay, and that's awesome. Of course, with touring comes taking care of yourself and your physical health, but also your mental health. How do you go about doing that?
It's kind of crazy sometimes. Our tours, we like this one coming up. We have 12 shows in a row.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes there isn't a whole lot of downtime to even get
Right.
into your own head. And that's okay when there's short bursts of work
Mm-hmm.
like that. But, when you get out in a month type of tour, you definitely need some days off just for decompression. Um, you know, I anything I can do creative again, or even just to get outside. One of my favorite things is riding a mountain bike. So, if you can take a day off to do something like that and just enjoy the outdoors to any degree, I highly recommend it.
Right. Because not when you're touring, of course, you're stuck on a weird time schedule as well, because especially if you're the headliner, you're not coming on till late, and then you don't really get to see much daylight. And so I agree with you. I think it's important to get out to feel the sun, and to feel that fresh air, and just to take care of yourself that way. It's so very important. Well, Skinny, I'm not going to keep you much longer. I know you're super busy with these interviews and promoting for the new album. I was just wondering if you had any last words for people who are watching this interview, of thanks or anything along those lines.
Yeah, I mean, what do you say after 30 years besides thank you to everyone that's been along for the ride the entire time? Or in case you just tuned in yesterday, buckle up because we're going to be doing this quite, heavily for the next, I don't know how many years. We're going to see how long, but we're going to keep going. And again, I can't thank you and everyone enough from, like I said, from 30 years ago to yesterday and to every interview that we've been able to do to push this new record. Call the Devil comes out August 9th, and we're really excited about it.
Well, thank you so much, Skinny, for taking the time. And of course, guys, I will leave all of the links in that pre order link where you can order the brand new album, Call the Devil. It is out August 9th via Napalm Records. I'll leave all of that information down below in the description, along with all of the info where you can find Mushroomhead, so you can subscribe, follow them on all of their social medias and everything like that. Thank you again. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you.
Bye, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe to become a Taurian. Speaking of becoming a Taurian, all of my social media links and my Discord link are down in the description. We'd absolutely love to have you come hang out in the Discord community, and I will see you guys in the next video. Rock on.